Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show, or spoiler-free show. Terrible branding that, but welcome to the spoiler-free show. I'm your host, Paul, and in this video, we're going to be talking about Alien Earth from a spoiler-free review perspective. I've actually seen the first 2 episodes along with our editor, Matt, and we're just going to be kind of going through our thoughts on it, what we liked, what we didn't like, and yeah, if we're excited for the rest of the series or not. Also, just to let you know, we've got loads of Alien and Predator merch at the merch store below if you guys want to pick that up. It all goes towards helping videos like this get made, and if you buy 3, you get 20% off. So yeah, Matt, we're going to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, but obviously we will talk about some stuff that's in the episode. It's going to be difficult to be like, well, we can't talk about anything, so there will be minor spoilers, including the first 10 minutes that I kind of wanted to chip on. But what were your overall thoughts on the first 2 episodes?
I was super hyped for this after Noah Hawley did Legion, and I think he's done a really good job here. There's a bit too much member berries. I think we spoke about that before. Like you said, the opening. I'm not too sure on the Wendy Nevermore sort of thing. It just kind of seems a bit odd and a bit kind of... The show, as I say, feels a bit fractured, and I really want to see where they're going to go with it. It kind of seems a bit all over the place.
Yeah, so I do agree with what you're saying. At points, it felt like there was 2 stories that were completely separate from one another, and they kind of brought them together. Alien, as a franchise, you know, there's been a lot of focus on the xenomorphs, but then recently they sort of started to explore things with the AI, like Michael Fassbender's role, especially, you know, those Prometheus and Alien Covenant, they were almost kind of comments on AI in general. And obviously Ridley Scott did stuff like Blade Runner. It is very, very heavily influenced by Ridley Scott, I will say that, to the point that a character even looks exactly like Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner, to the point I was like, that's got to be intentional. But obviously these worlds exist within the same universes due to what we've seen with Easter eggs. I agree about the... shot for the member berries. Like, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but when you watch the opening, you will very much be like, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah.
It's almost shot for shot at points with certain things. And then you kind of, once they've established that, they go off and do their own thing. And then there's kind of these 2 stories that they flip back and forth between. One of them is very centered on AI and one of them centered on the xenomorphs, which is and they're kind of bringing those 2 stories together. Like I said, it's the first 2 episodes, and we don't know exactly where it's going to go, but I will compliment just how good the production design is on this stuff. It literally, at points, if you took a screenshot of it and put it next to, like, put it up and got an Alien fan in and were like, is this the original Alien or is this Alien Earth? I think there's some people who'd be like, it's difficult to tell. Everything down to the set design, hairstyles, and just kind of the way it's written. It all feels like it exists within the same world.
The same shots as well, the slow-mo kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, so obviously Noah Hawley, he did Fargo and Legion. I haven't seen Fargo. I absolutely loved Legion.
Yeah, I loved Legion.
He definitely has like a signature style. Yeah, so I think he's done a fantastic job of recapturing that world and kind of building off some of the things that have been in place there. What was your feeling on the alien stuff firstly, and then we'll kind of talk about the AI stuff?
I think the Xeno stuff was absolutely fantastic. I really, really kind of like how all I could think of was in Alien 1, there's just one Xeno, isn't there? And it's just absolutely terrifying. Then in like as good as Aliens is, it kind of just ruins the mystique of the Xenos, and it makes them not as scary.
It's more of an action film, really, more than anything.
Yeah, it's a lot more action. I think this one kind of really makes the Xenos just look terrifying. Like you said, the production as well. It just looked amazing. Like if you compare it back to the 1979, you know, when I think it's Dallas is in the vent and it just comes at him. But this one just looks so good. It's brutal, it's horrible. And yeah, the alien stuff is good. I'm interested to see what they're doing with the samples and where it fits in on the timeline. And I like the whole fact that it's kind of like some corporate wars going on. It reminds me of like Cyberpunk, where the corporations are in charge, and it's cool seeing that. But I think the Xeno stuff is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it made me want to go rewatch Ghost in the Shell, to be honest, because it's very heavily based on that world. There's a certain scene in episode 1 that's all kind of done in one shot on Earth that is really, really breathtaking, and that's kind of when you're like, oh crap, this feels like next level stuff. And the production design on that was really, really good. I think you're completely right about the xenomorphs. They also bring in I'm sure you guys have seen the trailer if you're watching this. There's different alien species as well,
Yeah,
which feel that they exist within this universe, but they've all kind of got their own unique
yeah.
style to them, and they're all kind of as horrifying as each other. And I do like that they kind of created new aliens for this world that are not as terrible, like scary as the xenomorph, but they're definitely up there. At
Oh,
least
they're
for the first two
terrifying.
episodes. Yeah, you don't want to be stuck in a room with any of them,
No.
basically. And a lot of this actually thematically plays upon, the other side of the story, which is the AI stuff, and kind of mortality, death, living forever. It felt very sort of Black Mirror-y at points, and there's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
two members of the cast who come over from Black Mirror. And I did find that quite interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to get everyone involved, or gripped by the show, because it's not necessarily a massive departure, but it feels almost alien to what's going on with the xenomorph. So I don't know if
Yeah.
it's going to put some people off, but I am quite interested to see where that stuff goes. But it's definitely more thought-provoking, kind of philosophical, and asking questions of stuff. Whereas I don't know if some parts of the audience will be like, I just want to see gun shootouts with xenomorphs, which we do get at points. But yeah, I think that's going to be kind of the wild card of the season.
Yeah. I think for me, it wasn't. I didn't really like that part, but then again, I never liked the bit in Prometheus or Covenant with the whole thing with Michael Fassbender's character, and
Yeah.
that I didn't really find that interesting part of the mythos. I kind of stick with Bishop, and that's like my favorite synthetic or artificial human, as they prefer to be called, and they name drop that here. But yeah, it really kind of, like you said, it feels like two shows, and I'm not really into the whole main character Wendy at all. It kind of feels it took me out of the show somewhat. It felt like they're trying to
Yeah.
merge Romulus and Prometheus, and maybe a bit of Covenant as well.
Yeah, it did feel a lot like Raised by Wolves to me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point
Very
actually.
much, yeah, which is obviously another Ridley Scott thing, but it is keeping in line with what Scott does, but I don't know necessarily if that's what people want to see explored, because obviously,
Yeah,
Prometheus, I thought was okay at the time, came to grow fond of it, but I know that there's a lot of the audience that are kind of were put off by it, to the point that the studio even had like a knee-jerk reaction and were basically like, nope, next film must be an alien xenomorph film. You must make it that, Ridley. I was intrigued by it. I thought it actually nicely broke up the horror stuff, and there's definitely a mystery at the core of this, of not only what's going on with them, but what the corporations want, and also
yeah,
what happened on the ship. There's a character in it called Morrow who seems like he is morally ambiguous. I'll say that. I'll probably use that pun again in
yeah.
the
You will.
breakdown, so keep an eye out for it. But yeah, he's very mysterious. You kind of don't know exactly what he wants. He's good at points, but he's bad at points. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff with that. Now, obviously, they have said that this is kind of an offshoot timeline of the main line. I don't know how that's going to play into it. I think that's purely because it's kind of retconning some stuff with Prometheus, and it's also happening before Alien as well.
Yeah,
So the stuff that happens in it, you would think, how are they going to keep this under wraps to the point that people on the Nostromo wouldn't know that exists? But it also massively ties in with Alien in a way,
mm.
from set design to what the characters, a lot of things. You'll see it when you
Yeah.
see the opening. So yeah, how are you feeling about the first two episodes overall?
I think they're very good. They kind of feel like almost like a one. They do that a lot with streaming, don't they? But they drop like like 2 or 3 episodes. It almost feels like just one episode in a way. So yeah, it does feel like a bit of a opening feature length episode. I'm
Yeah.
not too hot on the AI, like I said, but the horror in it is absolutely fantastic. And I'm a bit of a lore head when it comes to kind of like Predator and Alien. I remember watching Alien versus Predator Requiem, and at the end of that, I was like, "Oh, that was terrible. That's one of the worst movies ever made." And then they have that bit with Mrs. Yutani, and I was like, "Oh, actually, I'll have a third movie just for that."
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's very
yeah.
much got a lot for the fans there overall. The needle drops are superb throughout, but overall, I'm cautiously optimistic. I've had my heart
Yeah.
broken when it comes to Aliens so many times. So
Yeah.
I just hope that they kind of, it feels like it's treading water already with 2 different timelines, 2 different stories, sorry. So I'm hoping that we can get into it, and it's interesting to see if it's just going to be on the crash and if it's going to kind of expand like Covenant. But yeah, overall, a
Yeah.
really solid entry.
Yeah, I would say starting off, I probably was a bit hotter on it than you. Like, I liked it a bit more than you because I
Yeah,
quite liked the AI stuff as well.
yeah,
But I can see that being a point of contention for a lot of people, and it just depends how much you like stuff about discussing whether, robots can have a soul or that sort of thing. But I do think they break it up nicely with the horror stuff. So while you might spend 10 or 15 minutes on that, you've then got a really good kick-ass action scene for like 10
yeah,
minutes after that. So yeah, I'm very I would say I'm quite excited to see where it goes. Doesn't necessarily completely knock it out of the park to the level that I wanted, but obviously, it's the first two episodes. We'll see how it gets on. But yeah, going to be covering the series every single week. First two episodes are dropping on the 13th, I want to say. So we should have breakdowns relatively shortly after that. So make sure you keep it locked. And yeah, thanks for joining me, Matt.
no
You're
problem.
working on Wednesday right now. I know I'm
Yep.
taking you out your busy schedule. But yeah, thank you for joining me. And thank you guys for watching as well. We really appreciate it. Do you like these spoiler-free reviews, or do you just want us to save our thoughts for this the heavy spoilers ones, you could say? Let us know below. And yeah, if you want something else to watch, we've got a breakdown of Predator or Prey or something on screen right now. Out of the way though, thanks for sitting through this video. I've been Paul, he's been Matt, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.
Peace.